Hello, 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 my loves. Welcome to EQ with Jah. I haven't made a video in a minute. So, today's topic is going to be boundaries. I get told a lot that I'm really good at setting boundaries, and my friends were like, You just know how to say no, but you don't do it in a mean way. How do you do that?" And it's not about so much the saying no, but I realized how much of culture is surrounded around what it means when you say no or how you say no and why we say yes to avoid the no. And that's when I started really paying attention to the emotional aspect of why I say no. I don't say no just because I want to disappoint someone or hurt their feelings, yet knowing that those feelings don't belong to me and I can't control them nor can I create them. Doing something for the sheer fact of me not wanting to hurt another person or have a reaction, so I avoid it altogether to get another reaction out of myself, which is the discomfort of saying yes sometimes. If I say no, I say it with follow through, because a lot of the times, if you set boundaries and you forget to have the follow through, which is holding to your word, no, I'm not going to do that because that's not something I want to do. But here's what I can do. We can compromise and I can do this for you at a later date or at this time. That's how we get to a place of people respecting our no's. He's going to say no, but he's going to show up because he's consistent. Now, there's people who say yes to everything and they never show up. That is a pet peeve of mine because it's like, just say no. Don't say yes in the hopes of me feeling like, oh, they're going to show up, because that's just whose expectations are you setting on that? Yourself and someone else's, on top of a conditional emotional part of, well, they said yes, so they should show up, right? These are emotional contracts we make with ourselves and with others. That's why it's important to really be conscious of when you say yes and when you say no. Because sometimes we say no without realizing that it's not about getting a justification from someone. Sometimes people are like, well, they need to explain to me why, and or else I'm just going to say no. No, the why is not important. If you're going to do something for someone, you're going to do it with no malice, no implied intent, no expectations. You just do. Hey, I need this. Could you help me? Sure. I'm not going to say why. Why do I need to help you with it? I mean, sure, you can. There's things in this world that we do all the time that we don't realize we're helping for the good or bad. So let's squash that idea right there if anyone wants to point that out. Whatever someone's free will does with your help is their free will to choose to do so. But as long as you're doing it with pure intent and genuineness, you will not have any guilt attached to it, because you know that you're doing it from a place of protecting yourself and healing yourself, which is setting boundaries. And then when others see that, they can use that for themselves. And this is passing along the torch, the toolbox that I like to talk about. We have to remember that when we learn these things, we give it back so that we as a society can put them into action, into play, and practice them daily. So then when we interact with each other, we're not reactionary to someone saying, no, but not because I don't believe in you or want to be around you, but because these are my personal boundaries. I can respect that more than, no, I gotta go do this, and oh, I really want to be there, but that's excuses. I don't do excuses. I don't have time for those, because excuses are expectations of somebody else's unresolved emotions. And that's where we have to take ownership of who we are and how we step into this world. When I step outside, I don't have the intent of trying to be difficult or trying to be the opposition. But if I feel a collective concentration of something saying I need to do something, that's when I started to reflect on how I can be like, no, because these are energy tests. These are emotional training things you can do to help you get more in tune with your, what we call our cognitive reasoning, which is we get facts and information and we take it in and we absorb it. And then we can choose to just use it for knowledge sake or replicate it and become something else. Replication usually has an element of the emotional intelligence, which is, I can advance this. I can see the innovation in this. If we just sit and replicate the same thing and reproduce the same information, then we're just keeping it safe, or however you want to look at it, preserving it, whatever, that's history. That's beautiful. But they both have fine elements of overly preserving something. You're not able to see anything grow past what your own boundaries are. You get caught up in the conditional elements of, we all do it this way, you should do it this way. Say yes, it's your mother. Say yes, it's this. Say yes. You don't have to say yes just because it's family. You don't have to say yes just because everyone else is telling you to say yes. But if you learn how to break outside of that concentrated emotional element, and then you go out into the boundaries of, oh, okay, now I see that it's not about the emotional, it's about the actual practical logistics of, if I do this, how will I set myself up for the next day or for the next week or for the next month? That's practicality. That's where it comes into play, where you're saying, like, why you say no with intent, so that you set your boundaries and no one will question them. Because when people come to you, they're not going to bullshit you and use excuses and all these explanations, and they know that that works on you. That's like petty change. Ooh, that worked. Ooh, oh, I need this, I need this, I need this. Oh, you should feel bad. Bam, and you feel bad. Oop, that worked. You should feel bad. I don't. Actually, I got great sleep and I got things I needed to take care of, and my whole week is set up now because I decided to be productive for myself. How did your event turn out? Oh, it was cool. Everybody showed up. It was fun. Okay, so wasn't no problem then. You know what I mean? There's people who want you to, oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't make it to your event. And no, that's where the emotional manipulation comes in, and people have learned how to do that even without recognizing it. It's not even on purpose. Some people do it conditionally. So that's why it's really good for you to step back and start realizing, when I'm not hearing myself, if I can't say no to myself and I'm repeating something in my head, oh, I should feel, or I feel. No, you don't. You actually don't feel that. That is transfer of energy that somebody else gave to you through expectation or other, or however it was taught to you. That is a packaged deal. That's why you have to redefine, well, why do I feel guilty? Well, because, like, they probably want me there, and they probably did. To me, in my mind, that's an arrogant thought of, okay, it would be nice, maybe they did want you there, but of all the people they invited, you're the only one they're sitting around waiting for. And if they are, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But I'm saying, in most cases, if someone does anything where they want you to be at an event, I'm just using events as the best example, you're just one person. I would never be so arrogant to sit back and say, well, if I don't show up, then they're not going to have a good time. That's why you have to take away that guilt that some people use with that type of, can you do this for me? Sure. Not why, but sure. Once you say sure, that's your choice. Now, what I like to do, if you really need an answer, is, could you do this for this? Could you do this for me? Well, what would you like me to do for you? So I understand exactly what you're looking for. That way they can explain everything they need. You can say, you know what? That sounds like more work than I want to do right now, but I appreciate you for thinking of me. That's how you say no and get your answer still. You know what I mean? But there's just ways of being playful with it. Don't get upset and say yes, and then you're stuck and you're like, I hate this. I wasted my time. I didn't have a good time. No, because now you just negated any type of social interaction you had with somebody else. That was a good time for them. And then you just made it something that's a negative situation. So any positive energy that could have came out of it, you just killed it because you put all negative energy around it, which is a concentrated energy that says, don't come near me. I only want like energy around me right now. That's why you have to know how to set those boundaries, set your pace in your boundaries, so you know what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to, so you don't become that person. Oh, they gonna say no to everything. And then they be like, oh, I'm gonna say yes because I want attention. Don't be that person either. Utilize your yes and no's for the right reasons, but understand that there should be no guilt associated with it. If you feel guilt, you haven't set boundaries. If you feel shame, you haven't set your own self-respect in that scenario of, what would I like for me to do to preserve my energy and emotions? All right, I know this was a very all over the place one. In my mind, they're all over the place because when I'm talking, I'm not just talking for like myself. It's just stuff that comes through and it gets filtered through, and I don't really stop the filtration. I just kind of let it get, keep the big stuff out. and let everything else go out. So if this made sense, awesome. If it did make sense, replay it back. Maybe next time it will. I don't know what to tell you. Either way, I love you. Do not ever feel bad for doing what feels good for you if it is bringing no harm to no one else. All you have to do is say no explanation or expectation. I do what I want. Thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.